any white man in the world says, give me liberty or give me death, the entire white world applauds. When a black man says exactly the same thing, word for word, he is judged a criminal and treated like one, and everything possible is done to make an example of this bad nigger so there won't be any more like him.
Last week was James Baldwin's birthday, and I want to highlight a few reasons why America should, but refuses to learn from him. I was 20 when I first picked up The Fire Next Time, 20 years old when I first started to ask questions about preconceived notions I was programmed to accept. And it's an age where you would assume ideologies were already solidified and prejudices formed. But that was when I learned who James Baldwin was, and in turn, learned about how deeply woven racism was into the fabric of this country and what role I could play in helping to end it. You see, Baldwin had a brilliant mind. He had a way of writing that allowed you to visualize his words and form a painting in your own mind. But he also had a way of articulating this nation's inability to learn from its past sins. He'd say people are trapped in history and history is trapped in them. That message resonates just as much today as when he said it in 1965.
Any white man in the world says, give me liberty or give me death, the entire white world applauds.
You listen to these words and then you look at the response to, say, the Oregon ranchers who occupied federal land armed to the teeth in protest. Not only were they widely glorified as patriots, but they were even pardoned by Donald Trump. Their form of protest was deemed lawful, while transparently unlawful. Their anger and violence was rewarded even. And then you look at the treatment of Colin Kaepernick, a black man peacefully utilizing the power of protest to shed light on injustice. And Baldwin's words are so eerily relevant.
When a black man says exactly the same thing, word for word, he is judged a criminal and treated like one.
Kaepernick was vilified by the very institutions that glorified the Oregon ranchers. And to make an example of him, his career was stripped away to send a message to others who might seek to use their voices to challenge the powerful. The same way Muhammad Ali was treated at the same time when Baldwin was speaking out on such issues, proving that either the man was a time traveler or he simply foresaw the direction his country was heading and how its inability to learn from past mistakes would allow history to be recycled. Baldwin also taught me about patriotism. I mean, go ahead, type in American Patriot to Google and let me know how many pages you need to scroll through before you find James Baldwin, if you find him. But he was a man who perfectly articulated what it meant to be a patriot in this country when he said, I love America more than any other country in this world, and exactly for this reason, I insist on the right to criticize her perpetually. Isn't that what patriotism is all about? The want and need to make the country you love better, to help ensure it lives up to its purported ideals of freedom, liberty, and justice for all. But the truth is, we fail to live up to these ideals whenever a black person raises these kind of questions or seeks to make us better. Think about it, Donald Trump ran his entire campaign on how bad this country was and how dire certain places were. His motto was literally to make America great again. And his base ate it up, glorified the message, sang his praises as a patriot. But when Black Lives Matter take to the streets and also ask, hey, America, can we be better? When Kaepernick asks, can we be better? When anyone who is not white asks, can we make this country better? We hear the terms disrespectful and ungrateful. They're told you should be thankful for the opportunity, and if you don't like it, then leave. So was Donald Trump ungrateful? After all, the same country that offered LeBron James the ability to make millions also offered Trump his opportunities. But I didn't recall him being told to leave. He was deemed a patriot because he was fighting for all Americans, or at least all right Americans. James Baldwin taught me, most importantly, about white privilege and the ability to be without second guessing. And those who are too fragile to see that choose to deflect, claiming the term white privilege is itself made up and claim it to be racist. Why? Because as Baldwin perfectly said in response, the reason people cling to their hate so stubbornly is because once hate is gone, they will have to deal with the pain. And it's a lot easier, as we know, to hate than it is to accept. So in commemoration of James Baldwin's birthday last week, I urge all of you to read his works. I was 20 when I began to learn, but you are never too old to change. His greatness transcends time, and believe me, this country would be a far better place if we learned from James Baldwin. And go ahead and download the TYT app.